Hi, Fabrice. Peter Ensel from SUNY Plattsburgh. I'm just wondering, in looking at your examples, it seemed like they were all print journalism. Is also open to broadcast journalism?
Well, NPR is actually
NPR,
radio,
okay.
and
And
it's,
television.
if you go to our journalism page today, the top 2 stories are from NPR, and often we'll have a piece from 60 Minutes. And it's not just mainstream media, it's also independent media. One of the things that people like most about the News Trust service is that we surface interesting stories, which you might not have encountered during your daily routines. So yeah, we cover mainstream and independent, we cover print, blog, TV, radio. As long as it's online and in the English language and it's perceived by the public as news, it's on our radar. And you as a member can submit it for review. And if we think it's interesting, we'll review it.
Another question here. Hi, I'm Marcia Ducey. I'm from SUNY Brockport. I was talking to my students just last week about something similar to this, the idea of it. Would you trust if there were some service that would rate the reliability and trustworthiness of stories? Would you go to that? And I was rather surprised. I thought they would say yes because it would save them time, and they said no, they wouldn't trust anyone except themselves and their friends. So do you have any advice on how to get them to think about looking at this site?
Yeah, we've heard their voice already, and next month we're going to launch News Trust groups so that you can basically have a group with just you and your friends. And if you only trust yourself and your friends, then you can look at the recommended stories from that group. We're also introducing Facebook Connect, so that if you're a Facebook member, you will automatically be a News Trust member. So it'll make it a lot easier for you to not only sign up, but also to export out any reviews that you do. So if you review a story on News Trust, you can post it on Facebook really easily.
Fabrice Stewart, laureate of the Missouri School of Journalism. You ask your reviewers to judge fact and fairness. How do you judge whether your reviewers are actually know the fact and know the fairness and whether they're being factual and fair?
There's a couple different ways in which we review the work of our reviewers. One of the ways is any member can rate the review of another member as long as they themselves are a trusted member, meaning that they have a member level of 3 or above. So we get a lot of feedback from members that are already trusted who look at the reviews and say, well, this person totally doesn't get it. Let's give it a 2 until they do get it. The other thing is our staff itself gets involved. I also want to be really careful about this, this question about ratings. The ratings are a means to an end. The end is that we want to increase our news literacy skills in the digital age. That's really the mission, is to help us become better at discerning the difference between different types of information. But if I went out and talked to the average consumer and said, let me get you and help you get more news literate, they would just laugh at me. So we needed a Trojan horse to get them to actually develop those skills hands-on without telling them we're going to make you news literate. And so the rating basically provides us with a way to do that. We're actually less concerned about the ratings being incredibly accurate because over time it becomes very clear which publications are trustworthy. When we've reviewed 590 stories, from factcheck.org, it becomes very clear that it's a quality outlet. And so that's the source rating is really what we care about. If there's some minor discrepancies from one story to another, we're not going to lose too much sleep about it. What we do lose sleep about is, are people learning? Are they getting better? And what we're finding so far is that many of the folks who started out with absolutely no appreciation of the core principles of journalism come out after a month or two understanding that there is such a thing as fairness, such a thing as sourcing, such a thing as context, and they do learn it. They become more nuanced and more moderate in their reviews. So it has a calming and moderating influence, which we think is really important.
Andrew Hayward, advisor to the Center for News Literacy. So I was interested by the slide that showed the intersection of computers, professionals, and amateurs. So what is the role of professionals? Can you clarify that a bit more? What do you actually do to seed the conversation?
I think traditionally the reporter tended to be more like a lecturer, and so they would go out and they would get the information and they would give the information almost in lecture form. And that, I think, is a model that probably would be good if it changed a little bit so that the professional would become not just a lecturer, but also a coach. Meaning that, yes, they go and get the information, But just getting people informed is not enough. People have to get engaged in this day and age. And that's a lesson that I learned, fairly recently. I thought it was enough to just get them informed. So I see the role of the journalist as being not just of someone who informs you, but also someone who helps you yourself become more discriminating. And one of the things that I would like to see more is more collaborations between journalists and citizens. One of the key findings that I didn't have time in this presentation is that when citizens and journalists collaborate, everybody wins. Because the journalists have unique expertise in information gathering that they can impart to citizens, and citizens can amplify that expertise and spread it out far wider than we could by just paying them.
Fabrice, let me ask you one more question because the 10 minutes is up. Very quickly, what do you do with universities? How do you partner with universities? If any university is interested in working with you, what exactly do you do?
So what we do is we engage you and your students for a period of 1 week to join forces with us and participate in what we call a news hunt. The news hunt can be about a topic of your choice. We'll partner you with a media partner, like, for example, University of Nevada and NewsHour and News Trust joined forces to review the U.S. economy. It was very productive. The students got to interact with media professionals as well as with our community. During that week, each student is asked to spend, to review 5 stories, 1 story a day. And during that time, they will gain news literacy skills. They'll be able to practice the skills that they already have in a hands-on, self-directed manner. At the end of the week, we review our collective findings, and we post the results on our blog. Very healthy experience. I highly recommend it.